Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about the BethesdaNet mod fiasco. Yes indeed. Now for those of you who are wondering, no, I'm not a journalist, so do your own research. However, I'm giving my 2 cents on this whole thing, and that is that it is a bad situation. You see, a very prominent member of the modding community has had his mods stolen. Now, the person who stole the mods put them up on BethesdaNet and basically said, here you go, console users, these are for you, because the author is a big PC elitist asshole who isn't going to upload these. Then, this person who called the original creator a PC elitist asshole asked for donations. And when he said, this isn't cool, these are my mods, I made them, you shouldn't be able to ask for donations for that, the person who stole the mods basically said he's a PC elitist asshole, that he wants none of you console users to have the mods, so on and so forth, and sicked those console users on the Nexus. So the Nexus was filled with death threats and hate messages for this guy, who just wanted to protect his own intellectual property. He wanted the console users to have it after he instituted proper quality control, making sure that his stuff ran optimally on the consoles. Ask any mod maker, such as Gopher for instance, how much work goes into properly porting a mod over, not just saving it as a different format and re-uploading it. I'm talking about making the changes necessary to make the mod run the best they can on the console. And this author was doing it. This author, along with many other authors, actually went and purchased the game a second time on the console just for the opportunity to properly craft these mods. And the community, not listening to any of this shit, attacked him and pretty much said that he's scum, he needs to die off, things like that, and praising the guy who stole his mods. Now, people who are going to shout it's impossible to steal a mod because a mod is free, they don't know how intellectual property law works. The intellectual property, that is what is contained in the plugin file, any kind of 3D models, any kind of sounds, or any work you do really, belongs to you. Now, Bethesda owns the ESP file, so they actually have rights to redistribute it as they please. Bethesda does, not you. And Bethesda has the right to actually take any parts of your mods and re-upload them as part of the full game or a DLC or anything they want to do, because you gave Bethesda complete rights to it. Now, giving Bethesda complete rights to it is not the same thing as giving every Tom, Dick, and Sue on the internet those same rights. If you repackage shit against the mod author's wishes, then you are actually violating the law. Now, the biggest argument against that, well, if they're violating the law, you know, why don't they get arrested? No police officer's gonna arrest someone for stealing a mod. That's the big petty comment that I've been hearing. Listen up. That's not where intellectual property theft ends up. It ends up in civil court. Now, is someone going to sue you over having their mod stolen? Probably not, but they might. The fact is the reason this shit show has become such a shit show is because Bethesda is taking a hands-off approach on this. They're basically saying, if you want a mod removed that was uploaded against your wishes, you have to send a DMCA copyright claim. Now, for those of you who don't know, a DMCA claim is, under United States copyright law, a legal notice. You have to be prepared to defend that notice in court. ZeniMax is required upon receiving that notice to take the thing down immediately. We're assuming that ZeniMax is either the agent for service of process of Bethesda, or ZeniMax actually runs BethesdaNet and Bethesda doesn't. Either way, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I've made this comparison several times before, but when something is free, that does not mean that you have the right to do with it whatever you please. And indeed, redistributing an intellectual property which was provided to you for free is actually still stealing. My wife's favorite author is Sherilyn Kenyon. This author puts up the first chapter of her books for free on her website, knowing that right next to that free chapter and at the bottom of that free chapter, there are a ton of links to buy this book now. When you take that chapter and you redistribute it onto a different site, you are stealing Sherilyn Kenyon's work. And you are placing it in a way that she did not intend. She no longer benefits from those advertisements being placed there. And you have to understand that it's the same way with the Nexus. There are people who are counting on that pop-up on the Nexus where it says donate to the author. They're counting on people clicking on the author's username and getting a list of all the other mods they had, which would have similar pop-ups on them. Whether it's right or not to upload someone else's stuff to BethesdaNet, it doesn't change the fact that it's illegal and that someone could sue you over it. But you know what? That part isn't the part that really screws this up. The part that really screws this up is the fact that all the way going back to the paid mod system on Steam, when the paid mod system was originally being negotiated with Valve, Bethesda made it very, very clear to Valve that there be no curation. That is to say, no oversight, no gatekeeper who says this mod is worth selling, this mod isn't worth selling. Bethesda wanted it to be a hands-off system, and you know why they want it to be a hands-off system? I can't speak with any authority on this, but if I had to guess, I would say it's in preparation for BethesdaNet. The whole paid mod system, I think, was just a trial run to see how well they could sell mods on BethesdaNet. Well, that didn't work out so well, but you see, they're still operating BethesdaNet in the same mentality. No curation, no protection, no oversight. There be no gatekeepers. Anyone can upload whatever they want, and that's fine, because Bethesda washes its hands of the whole thing and then immediately says, well, if you're going to accuse this guy of piracy, you're going to have to send a DMCA copyright claim. Sorry, we don't have any part of this. This is a user-supported platform. And there lies the problem. If somebody goes to Bethesda and posts in a forum thread saying this has been stolen, they will immediately get banned, or so I've been told. They will immediately get banned off of Bethesda for reporting that this has been stolen, because no one's allowed to do that. If the original author tries to say, hey, this isn't cool, is there any way we can deal with this, they get banned too. The fact is that the only way they're accepting any kind of discussion on this is in the form of a copyright claim. And you know how that makes mod authors feel? Pretty damn bad. Which is why some of the authors who were slowly working to make their mods console compatible, have taken them all down off BethesdaNet. Have basically said, we are now boycotting BethesdaNet because of their bad business practices, and we are going to send in copyright claims whenever we see one of our mods up, but otherwise we are just going to say, we're done with the platform. Bethesda, you've done us wrong. We're not going to do any more mods for your games. We're going to make our own games. And in the case of the recent mod author, DDProductions, and keep in mind, all these examples I've been giving up till now weren't just DDProductions, they happened to several people. In DDProductions' case, he received more negative feedback, and the people stealing his stuff received more positive feedback than he ever had before. Bethesda banned his account, and the Nexus banned his account after he got kind of pissy with some of the people who were sending him death threats. Go figure, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people are going to start off this thread by, why do mod authors have to be such whiny little babies? Why can't they just go back to doing mods for the community like they were originally doing? That's not how it works. When you have a hobby, when you have something you do for fun personally, you do it because it's fun. And because in some way it benefits you. If only for personal enjoyment benefiting you, that's okay, but maybe it benefits you in other ways as well. Maybe you're using it as a portfolio. Maybe you want to get in on a big modding team and you want to be recognized for what you do. You know, everyone has different motivations for doing what they're doing. But I can tell you right now, in the way of DDProductions, he's going to go make his own games because he doesn't want to be a part of a community where the people in charge, Bethesda, don't give a shit. So he's going to be working on his own game, and I don't hold that against him. People have asked me, why don't I make a mod out of all of my what if Skyrim was good suggestions? I think it's wonderful that there are mod authors with the patience of saints who are willing to put up with all this shenanigans and ask for absolutely nothing in return. I'm not that good a person. I'm willing to share my ideas because my ideas are free and anyone can have them. But when it comes to actually putting in work, that belongs to my passion projects. If you go to chroniclesofrebirth.com, you can find something that I'm passionate about. It's based on a story I wrote 10 years ago. Hell, my username that I use on YouTube is based on 2 separate characters from that particular story. But either way, what I've done is I've expanded on it, and I'm making my own world. Now, I barely have enough time to do an article a day on that, still do my live streams, still work on videos here. And of course, spend time with my wife and family. Anyone is free to take from my Elder Scrolls idea videos, my ideal Elder Scrolls videos, whatever they want, and create whatever they want. But the last couple times mod authors have wanted me to look at things, I've thrown my responses back at them, and they come back with even more questions. And it's pretty much just a case of, I have time to respond once or twice, but I can't write a project for you, nor would I. Professional writers ask for money. Now listen, I have had a lot of respect for Bethesda in general, about how they've always achieved their design direction, even if I didn't agree with their design direction. I personally don't agree with the design directions of Oblivion and Skyrim. The directions that they've gone, their decisions after Daggerfall, I don't personally agree with, but I respect them because they've always achieved their design directions. My problem is that despite respecting them for that, I'm looking at BethesdaNet and how they're treating the community. This is corporatized bullshit. And I don't want to be a part of this, which is why I respect DDProductions and anyone else who wants to make their own thing. It's why I look at people who go, well, what's the lore significance of this game mechanic versus that game mechanic? And I'm like, there is no significance. These are separate games with separate design directions set forth by Bethesda. And ultimately, seeing them disrespect their own lore is one of the reasons why I've started to work on my own projects separately. I respect them as game developers, but at the same time, those very design directions, those choices they make need to be called out so that people can think about what direction do they want the game to go? What is their ideal Elder Scrolls? And if their answer is Morrowind, then congratulations, your ideal game's already been created. You don't need to aspire to anything more. But I suspect a lot of people wanted to see a different Skyrim or a different Oblivion, or hell, even a different Morrowind. There are lots of people who wanted to see things slightly differently. I hold up Daggerfall as an example of one of my favorite video games of all time. But it was systemically broken and need to be fixed. Does that mean that I want to spend huge amounts of time working on someone else's project? No, not really. I have my own passion project, and I'm really hoping that DDProductions is able to develop his own passion project as well. But you know what the big difference between Bethesda and a mod author is? A mod author does it because they want to. A company like Bethesda does it because they have to. Otherwise, they won't get paid. They need to sell as many copies of the game as possible, otherwise they're going nowhere. All of the problems I've been saying here today, all of it roots back to the fact that Bethesda wants to have their cake. Remember, when paid mods was initially being announced, that is exactly when Fallout 4 was being announced as well. They ultimately wanted to sell paid mods for Fallout 4 on the console. They wanted that. I know it. Even though there's no evidence toward that, I am certain that's what they wanted. because they're a company, because they need to make money. And they want to make as much money as possible off the backs of the users. And let's face it, without Steam in the picture, they could have made that money pretty much all themselves. Bethesda set this whole system up under the idea of no curation, and it's backfired. All of those people who were originally saying that modding is killing gaming, how modding is bad for games, how it's against the author's original design direction, why would you ever want to mod? Modding is bad. These same people are demanding that PC users port their mods over, not realizing that not every mod is suitable to be ported over. And we've always had jerks online who upload stuff. I mean, you've got people who upload movies to YouTube all the time. You know it's not fair use, but they claim fair use anyway. And they slightly alter the tint and the pitch of the video as to not be caught by the automatic scanners. And they think that this is somehow acceptable. It's stealing. All the blame in this situation lies squarely on Bethesda. They don't have systems in place to handle this efficiently. The countless mod authors who've basically told Bethesda to fuck off, I understand completely. And they have my sympathy. Ultimately, what we're going to be seeing is a decrease in the quality of mods being submitted. We're going to be seeing a decrease in amount of effort that people put into these mods. And ultimately, people who were making these grand, sweeping mods because they knew that their name was going to be attached to it, they're going to go somewhere else. And it's a shame. Bethesda, get your shit in order. This whole situation disgusts me. This is Eric Sahakaran. Check the social media links for more content, and I'll see y'all next time.